Okay, awesome. Okay, hi folks. I just wanted to kind of say hi again and start. This is one topic that's really passionate to me. That is digital transformation and how we are all preparing for a digital future. We are already in a digital kind of world right now, and as Narendra rightly said, right, because of COVID, Gen overall, the acceleration to digital has just become much more important at this juncture, right? Many small businesses want to become more digital. Government Governments all across the globe want to become more digital, and hence it's a very important topic. Um, I want to kind of focus on three things here, right? One, talk about digital transformation. Two, talk about product management. I'm a product manager with JP Morgan. I'm a digital product manager, so I just want to talk about a little bit about product management because I think product management is one discipline that can bring everything together. And thirdly, I also want to talk about what are the big job trends we are seeing in digital, right? Digital is a massive topic. There's so many different areas, and each area we could just study that one area for a whole lifetime and never get enough of it. But I think as students, I think what's key for you to understand is what are the biggest job trends that we are seeing in digital and how that can help you prepare, right? We'll also look at some case studies along the way, like not to make it just focused on theory. We'll also look at some case studies. And if at any point, I think Narendra and Rupesh, like you folks let me know at any point, how do you want to handle questions? Because I have allocated some time at the end for where we can have a question and answer kind of session. Okay, sounds good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. A little bit about myself. I think Narendra gave me a very good introduction. We were college mates. We were engineering classmates. We were very good friends while we were studying in Chennai. Currently with JP Morgan, digital product management. A couple of other things I really love is Indian history. I really love reading about our country's history. There's so many valuable lessons we learn from there. I'm a big movie buff. Love travel. You can also reach out to me anywhere here, right? I just started with Twitter, so not a very active Twitter participant, but definitely email. We can converse with me on email or join or get in touch in LinkedIn. Okay. So I'll distribute the slide maybe after this meeting, after this session. Okay. Just a high level outline of the agenda. We want to look at what is digital. We want to look at why innovation is so key for companies and everyone, right? Companies, governments, even individuals in this new world order. Why, if we don't innovate, we'll all perish, right? Then want to really give you a very high overview of what product management is. What are the biggest job trends in digital, AI, and product management? And finally, I just want to wrap it up by just giving you some general pointers about career in a digital world, right? Career and life in a digital world. And I don't want to be too preachy, but just things that I have learned in 20 years of my professional career. I just want to share a few things with you. And definitely, I want to allocate a lot of time for question and answers. So we'll go to Q&A at the end, okay? So we'll start with any questions or anything so far, or we can keep going. Okay. We're going to start with. Okay. Are you all able to see it properly? All the slides properly?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks. So the first thing is digital. What is digital? I think we have this word thrown out many times, right? Like, what is digital? Digital is a lot of things. So it's not easy to define what is digital. But in simple terms, I think I attended a program in Columbia University last year. It was a very good program. And one of the professors there actually simplified it, right? He said, digital is anything that has data and then connectivity, right? You have data. When you have data and when you connect things, that's at a simple view what digital is, right? But then there is also like so many transformational technologies we have. So in my view, there are like 4 or 5 big transformational technologies or trends that the confluence of all of which makes it digital, right? Artificial intelligence is one of them. Big data, cloud, Internet of Things, blockchain. There's many more. There's cybersecurity, which is like a horizontal, but these five trends, the confluence of these five big trends over the past few years have made digital transformation that much more impactful, that much more important, right? We will go, we're not going to go into each of them in this lecture because it's going to take a lot of time to talk through each of them. I will spend some time on AI, which is in my view, the most promising trend that's out there and the one with the most potential. We will go through that, right? We'll cover that in the next slide. But I also want to also look at the definition of digital that McKinsey has provided. I really like this definition because it's a long definition, but it also kind of hits on the right kind of target areas, right? Digital is less of a way. It's not a technology. It's not a tool. It's not something that's readily available, right? But it's less of a thing, but more of a way of doing things. It's a mindset, right? And there are three major things to it, right? One is creating a value at new frontiers of business. What does it mean? Like there is a small enterprise, for example, let's say in Hyderabad or Chennai, and this enterprise or this company comes up with a new mobile app, right? And comes up with a customer service bot, right? That's digital. So they have made the first step into being digital, right? A second one could be that you have a regional bank that is doing some online lending, right? That is not lending online today. That's just doing lending through its branches or to its agents. But now suddenly, after one point in time, they say, okay, we have to reach more customers. Now let's build an online portal where customers can come apply for a loan and get it. That's digital. That's a small portion of digital, right? The bank is trying to be more digital. The second one is creating value in the processes that execute the vision of customer experiences. Example would be, think of it this way, right? When I and Narendra used to be in college, we never had malls or anything, right? Once or twice a year, we used to go to shop. If you had to buy a new dress, we'd go there and we try on the dresses in the shop and buy it, right? But now today, you folks are in a new world. You can sit at your home, go to an online shopping website or a portal. You can try on dresses virtually, right? You can just upload your image, upload your picture, or you can just have like the portal capture your image, and you can just try on new dresses, virtual customer experiences, right? You're seeing a lot of that now. And thirdly, building foundational capabilities that support the entire structure, right? What does it really mean? As an example, digital is not, I think many people confuse this, even experts and even like people who run businesses confuse this. Digital is not building the next mobile app or just building the next website, right? That's not digital. That's some element of digital, but that's not truly digital. Digital is really building the core capabilities. For example, for a bank, right? Like let's say a bank like SBI, State Bank of India, like India's largest bank, one of the largest financial institutions in the world, right? Do you think SBI is digital? My view is they're not. They are not. They have websites, they have mobile apps, everything, but I have a home loan with SBI. I don't get an online statement even now, right? It's a struggle. There have been some other issues because of which I'm not getting it, but it's generally a struggle. But what does it mean building foundational capabilities? It really means that you automate your back office process, you automate your middle office process, you build straight through processes, you build underwriting engines that are automated, right? So trying to automate a lot of things and trying to keep things simple for end customers. Okay, so that was about digital. If you have questions, I'll take now, or maybe we can just keep going just in the interest of time, and then we can get to questions later. But I also want to talk about digital in Indian context, right? Because India is definitely one of the top countries in the world that's doing great on digital adoption overall. Definitely there are challenges, definitely there are a lot of nuances, but overall we are doing very well as a country in digital adoption. I don't have to walk you through this because there's a McKinsey study that was done, I think in 2018 with the government of India, 1.2 billion people in Aadhaar. It's the largest kind of digital identity program anywhere in the globe. Largest. There's no comparison. US Social Security, 350 million. Aadhaar, 1.2 billion. There are obviously issues, security issues and other issues that we're not going to cover now. But as with any technology, you always have issues that we have to manage and or work through. 12.3 billion app downloads in 2018. I don't know the number in 2019, maybe it's higher. 12.3 billion new app downloads. And then you can see the other numbers, right? 560 million internet subscribers, 294 million users engaged in social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, you name it, right? These are some crazy numbers, right? What do all of this kind of tell us? That we are on, as a country, we are in a digital journey, right? Digital, I found one very interesting number here, right? If you can see this part here, the yellow part here, $1 trillion opportunity by 2025. Digital economy is going to add 1 trillion to a GDP by 2025. That's an insane number. India's GDP today is 2.5 trillion. So we have the ability, or we can actually add 1 more trillion to the economy by becoming more of a digital economy. That's an insane number. Again, is it going to happen? We don't know. There's a lot of things that need to fit in, right? But the potential is there, right? Again, some big trends at the bottom of the screen: Aadhaar, digital banking, cashless society. I'll just focus on one thing: 65 million new digital jobs by 2025. Again, I don't exactly know if we'll get to 65 million by new jobs by 2025, but with COVID and everything, these numbers can change and be impacted. But it's still a lot of jobs that are going to be created by the digital economy. So are we all ready for it as a country, as students, as professionals, as professors, as governments? Are we ready for it? And also, India is the third biggest startup ecosystem in the world, right? Technology startups: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Bombay, Chennai, Gurgaon, all hotspots for tech startups, right? I may have missed a couple of cities, but definitely hotspots for tech startups. And we're doing great in tech startups. Okay. Just take a pause. We're going to look at artificial intelligence. The next slide. Again, definitely not going to deep dive into artificial intelligence, but AI has been around for a long time. I don't know, Narendra, if you remember, we had an AI as a subject in, I think, 7th or 8th semester. Artificial intelligence was a subject for us. It has evolved definitely over the years, and now it's becoming more real, right? And people, industry, governments are starting to see real value out of it. Why is it happening? Because two things, right? One, the cost of data, the cost of infrastructure has gone down with cloud, with virtualization, with cloud, and there has been an explosion of data. We never used to have anything called big data in 2000 when we were studying engineering, but now we can capture data from anything and store them and process them in any way or form. We have the right technologies in place. We have the right tools in place, right? We have big data, we have cloud. Companies can scale up very quickly from 1 to million customers a month using cloud and virtualization. So that's why all these trends have confluenced, and they have helped artificial intelligence kind of explode over the last few years. Now, what is AI? Very simply, it's the science. It's a branch of computer science concerned with building smart machines capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. And how do machines do that? This is a very complex definition for me, right? But for me, a simple definition is machines, AI algorithms learn directly from data and make decisions, right? That's the key piece, right? They are able to discern data. They are able to understand data, identify data, apply it to a model, and then make decisions. That's the biggest difference between a classic algorithm where you have very rigid rules and an AI algorithm, right? Where it can actually learn directly from data and modify itself, right? Machine learning and deep learning, right? Two big AI trends. Machine learning is exactly like learn from examples and experience rather than hard-coded rules. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. But it has very vast potential. The important piece about deep learning, I think the one thing that you have to remember is deep learning. In deep learning, the features are not predefined. In machine learning, you have to predefine the features. In deep learning, you don't have to. Even that can be learned by the algorithm. We'll not get into how it does that, but it's a very important distinction, and it's a very evolving field. Some examples of AI in real life. I think you all probably know this, but I will just kind of talk about Netflix movie recommendations, right? I've seen this personally. I use Netflix a lot. I've seen Netflix movie recommendation algorithm become like unbelievable over the past couple of years. Earlier, it used to be okay. 5 years ago, it used to be okay. It used to hit the mark. It used to give me like good suggestions, but not great. Now it exactly knows what I, as an individual, like to watch. I like to watch like drama, preferably Indian based drama, preferably thrillers. It exactly knows anytime there's a new genre in that kind of category, it tells me that this is available and you can go and watch. So very interesting area. I just wanted to spend a few minutes on Google, right? Google's AI and machine learning practice. I think Google is doing a tremendous job, right? In the like AI, they're one of the pioneers of AI and machine learning, as you all probably know, right? Google has a website called google.ai. I don't know if you folks know. I think many of you may know it. Great resource. I recommend you to go and check it out after this lecture. They have tons of resources, tons of examples. Couple of things about Google, right? Google has hundreds of products, and many of those products use AI and machine learning. Google Lens, right, uses AI, uses machine learning to detect, uses machine learning and computer vision to detect the nature of the image or the object, right? Here, there's a photograph I took last week. Here, the Google Lens was able to determine that this is a bird. Not just that there is a bird, it also is able to tell me that this is what type of bird it is. It's a red-winged blackbird. Machine learning, right? But if you again, if you post it on a, if you take a picture of a car or take a picture of a dress or something, it's going to give you an option to also shop. Like it's also nudging you to do the next thing, right? So it's very smart, very evolved. Some of the other examples, obviously, Google has a whole machine learning kit for developers, for software developers, for both iOS and Android. Definitely urge you to check that out. Nest which is like a thermostat from Google. Again, what it does is it learns users kind of preferences and usage patterns, and then it systematically programs the temperature setting for you. So it brings down your cost of electricity, and it also makes sure that your home is neither too hot nor too cold at any given point in time. I don't have Nest today at my home, and it's always a problem. It either gets too hot or it gets too cold, right? I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the real use, one of the real use case, right? Google actually partnered with a couple of NGOs to build something called a Global Fishing Watch. What's Global Fishing Watch? Global Fishing Watch is an AI algorithm that is helping detect illegal fishing across the globe. Because today we have a big problem area in the world. As you know, fishes are depleting, marine life is depleting, and we have major environmental issues going on. And a big part of that is because 1/3 of fishing across the globe is illegal fishing. 1/3. You can imagine 33% of fishing is illegal today. How do you stop that? How do you detect and stop that? Google partnered with a couple of NGOs to really use something called automatic identification system for shipping. These are like data signals. I think it's a satellite signal that's kind of sent every day. It captures like 23 million data points, applies it to a machine learning algorithm, and they're able to accurately identify a ship's course and also compare the patterns of the ship's movement, and then basically come to a conclusion that this ship is here for fishing. And then they look up to see if the ship is supposed to be fishing in this specific area. If not, they know it's a fraud. They are doing some illegal activity there. And there have been many success stories. They're working with governments to kind of implement this, right? I have the website link. You can go and look there. It's free. Like any of us can look at. I was able to go in and check at some phishing activities across the globe. It's pretty cool, actually. I encourage you to go and look at it. But I'd also like to also challenge all of you, right? To think about what is one potential problem area where you think you can apply artificial intelligence today, right? You've been seeing news. I'll not get into that. But can we predict animal movement behavior, animal movement patterns, and help farmers to protect the crops, right? You saw locusts attack a lot of farmlands in India. Can we learn something about how locusts move and then apply and then share that information with farmers and governments so they can be better prepared? Can we predict water shortage before it happens in big Indian cities, right? Water is one of the biggest problems of our lifetime, right? Getting access to clean water. Can governments be warned about it ahead of time so they know that they have a water shortage coming up? Like Chennai, for example, hometown is Chennai. So I know last year for a couple of months or so, there was no water, right? Could we have known, I think we all know that there's water shortage, but could we have accurately predicted the amount of shortage much earlier and planned for it in a much better manner, right? These are a couple of areas I could think of, but I would recommend you, and maybe Naren, if your professor agrees, maybe as an activity, each of you could send or share like one idea after this session, where you think AI can apply, right?
Sure, Gani. If you share your email ID, they can do it for sure.
Perfect. No, we can. Yeah, you can also share in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, I think. Let's do it together. But I think this will be good to kind of a good activity, right? It's not to kind of test anything, but it's just like some activity for you to see if you can apply what you learned here. Okay. I'll pause here. I know I've been talking for 25 minutes now. Just pause here. Any major questions, folks, in general, or can we keep going? Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, I think there are no major questions. Okay, the next slide. Again, I don't want to. So we moved out of digital, but I don't want to shift. Right, it's all interrelated, and you will see why in a second. Just give me 1 second. Innovate or perish. I think this is very important, right? Fail to innovate because it means changing from what they are working on to something that's unproven and risky. This is from Clayton Christensen, whose book Innovator's Dilemma is considered one of the best books in that area, right? He tells why companies kind of fail to innovate, right? Companies fail to innovate because they are too comfortable doing what they are doing, and they are making a lot of money from what they're doing. That they don't think about the future, and then you have some small company disrupting the whole market, and this large company is thrown out of business. Exactly those examples here. Blockbuster. When I came to the US in 2007, Blockbuster had stores everywhere. Every city, every street had a Blockbuster store. Massive stores where you could go and rent DVDs. What happened? Blockbuster went out of business in 2014. Who took over? Netflix. Netflix is valued at market capitalization of Netflix, 185 billion today. One of the most valuable companies in the world. What did Netflix do? What did they do? They were a startup. 2 or 3 people started it, right? Very small company at one point in time. Blockbuster Netflix even proposed to Blockbuster at one point in time that they could build like an online portal, online digital channel for them, right? Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for a paltry sum, right? They didn't. Netflix, what did they do right? Netflix completely redefined the way we watch movies, series, and documentaries, and created a global marketplace for movies. Now, why is that massive? An Indian movie director sitting in India can make a regional show, and if the show is good, it'll be watched by people across the globe, right? There's so many great shows on Netflix, right? I'm watching Money Heist now. It's so great, and I also loved a lot of Indian shows. But you see the potential, right? As a movie producer or a movie director sitting in Chennai or Hyderabad can make a movie or a series, go to Netflix, and just launch it across the globe. You don't have to go to any theaters. How massive is that? That's the power of digital, right? That in one word, if you can sum the power of digital, that's the power of digital, right? You can change the world if you have great digital transformation. That's what Netflix did. Completely killed Blockbuster. Yahoo, what happened to Yahoo? Yahoo was a rage. Many of you may not know, right? Because you all are obviously much younger than me and Professor here. Yahoo was a rage when we used to study college, right? It was one of the hottest companies. What happened? They got bought over by Verizon for $4.5 billion, which is really a paltry amount for Yahoo. What happened? They were completely overrun by Google and Facebook, right? Yahoo never understood the importance of search, right? They could never perfect search, and they never understood the power of social networking. They missed it. They completely failed to innovate, and they missed it. Nokia is something we all of us Indians know about, right? I used to have a Nokia phone growing up. What happened to Nokia? Nokia is still surviving, but it's just surviving, right? 23.9 billion. Apple, 1.4 trillion market cap. Again, all of that is not coming from just Apple phone. It's coming from like iMacs and other products. But what happened to Nokia? Nokia never understood the power of data, nor they understood the power of software or design, and lost the phone market to Apple and other players like Samsung, right? So key message here is you have to innovate, and digital transformation is all about innovation, right? You have to bring those 5 transformational technologies together and innovate, right? And always think about what are the next step. And how do you do that? I think one of the ways of how you do that is through product management, right? Product management, we're going to look at it in the next slide. I think we are running out of time, but I'll just spend like 10 seconds walking you through. I just want to show you a video clip, but I can maybe send this to you and you can watch it. It's a video clip of Steve Jobs talking about the iPhone launch in 2007. You can see, I think, the power of this video clip is why is Steve Jobs considered like an innovator? Because he understood the power of software, hardware, design, aesthetics, user experience, marketing, all into one. You need all of this to build a great product, right? For example, I spent like 30,000 rupees buying a Nokia phone in 2006, which could do nothing that an Apple phone in 2007 could do when it is launched. I'm just going to attempt to share this video. I think it's a very important video. It gives you a flavor of what is the power of digital transformation. Okay, let me just share my screen. I'm sure you're not able to see this, right? Because I'm sharing on my other screen. Hold on, just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to stop share and it's going to do a new share. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let me know, folks, if you can see it, or maybe. Okay. Can folks see my screen? Can folks see YouTube? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome.
Sir, but the audio is not audible, sir. Can you please share the computer sound, sir? Meeting controls.
Is it audible now?
This on meeting controls there will be an option, sir. Share computer sound.
It's good? Okay, awesome. Okay.
It's not audible.
Okay. I'll just stop there. I know probably some of you had like voice issues, right? But can you hear me now? Is it good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. I know the videos generally don't work very well on presentations, but I just want to show you that because that there was kind of life changing and industry changing. In that moment, Apple killed Nokia, right? And what happened there, right? Apple was able to kind of understand technology. They were able to understand design. They were able to understand hardware. They were able to understand form factor and bring all of that together and build the iPhone. And that is what exactly product management is, which is a good segue to our next slide on product management, right? Product management is really, I like this quote. I think someone on Twitter said it. You have a lot of definitions for a lot of different definitions for product management, but a very simplistic definition is product management is this not just is discovering the right product and then building the product right? So there are two parts to it. You have to first discover what problem you want to solve and what product you want to build. So there's a whole discovery experimentation process. And then you want to build it right? You want to build it using the best technology, latest technology. You want to build it by keeping the customer experience or client experience in mind and design it properly, right? So product management is really this confluence of various things, right? It starts from vision and strategy, right? What's your company's vision? What is your strategy to get into a market? And then you do a lot of experimentation. Just like in college, we do a lot of lab experiments, right? In companies also, we have to do a lot of experimentation to figure out what's the right thing to build. What do we want to build? Do we want to just spend money and build this? We don't want to spend like 1 year, build something, launch, and then figure out no one is using it. You'll not believe, even now, majority of the products fail because of that, because there's no experimentation, there's no testing. You experiment, you build something, you test it with some potential clients, then you get the feedback, come back, iterate, build something new. Then you design the experience, right? You design the client experience. Then you build the product, right? And this is where you as engineers will kind of be engaged in more. But I would encourage you, just don't be focused on just building the product. Always ask questions, always try to understand the vision, strategy, try to make sure you understand design. Are we making it easy for clients, customers to build? I'll give you one easy example, right? We were building this great digital platform for JP Morgan. We built it. We had like great icons in one page with different colors. And then we were presenting to someone very senior in the firm. That person said, yeah, this looks good, but I'm colorblind. Can you imagine, like, what does it really mean is that you have to always understand your clients, your customers well. You have to understand the users well, right? Otherwise, you're never going to build a great product. Even as engineers, you always, doesn't matter if you're not a product manager, even as engineers, you should always know that you are building for your end clients, right? So you should always keep that in mind. Who's your user, right? For example, I have an 8-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. If I'm going to build something for them, I have to make sure that I take their sensibilities into account, right? I cannot just build something that doesn't appeal to them, for example, right? So it's a very important thing, right? That's all for all of this thing to come together. And as engineers, I challenge you to always have that in mind, right? Always keep that at the back of your mind. Then you have to plan your market, go to market. When do we launch? How do we launch? Do we want to launch mobile? Do we want to go mobile first? Do we want to go web first? Or do we want to just do it offline first? Or do we want to go to a couple of test markets first? Which market do we launch? Do we launch in Chennai, Bangalore? Or if it's a global product, do we want to launch in Singapore? And then always measure outcomes and feedback. And this is something I have learned through my career, right? I built a lot of products obviously with various teams. For many years, we never used to measure outcomes. How crazy is that, right? You have to measure your product outcomes, like how many users are using it, where are users falling off, what are they liking, what features are they not liking. You look at Twitter, right? Twitter has amazing analytics. If you use Twitter, you have something called Twitter Analytics. I encourage you to go and look at that, right? How Twitter measures you on everything. They exactly know what is trending, what's not trending, what's working, what's not working. So you need all of this to come together to build a great product. It's not just technology, and that's something you will learn as you get into your careers or as you start companies, new companies. I definitely want many of you to start your own companies, but as you get into your own careers, you will learn that it's not just about the technology always. Technology is a very, it's a most important part, but it's not everything, right? With that, I'll just kind of go to the next slide. Right, again, I just did some quick research, right, in the internet, and also looking at and also in general the trends in US, right? So job trends in digital, AI, and product, right? You see, if there's a 2020 emerging markets job report from LinkedIn, encourage you to read it. It's very good, very fascinating. Majority of the 15 top jobs are related to digital technologies. How crazy is that? Like 15, I didn't count the exact number, but majority of the jobs were related to digital technologies. Number one was a blockchain developer. Number two, AI specialist. Number three, robotic process automation consultant. In the US, no different. 8 of the 15 roles were digital or product related. The top job, data scientist. And I just extracted from this report and just created like a quick note of all the various technologies and all the various things you could be looking at and focusing on to get a break in the digital technology space, right? Available for your reference, so feel free to kind of take a look at it. But it's all in LinkedIn. And how did LinkedIn all come up with it? They use data. They use data on the job listings. They use data on the applicant profiles. They use data on hiring, and they came up with this, right? And they came up with this report, and they were able to say, okay, these are the various hot technologies that are out there. So very fascinating, and there's a very promising future in the digital space. Now, I want to digress a little bit, right? And it's not about what I did in my career and how I got here. There's a lot I have to do still, but I didn't start with technology. And I think your Professor Narendra knows that after engineering, I did my MBA in PSG in Coimbatore. And then I always wanted to be on the business side of technology. I didn't want to be like programming. I wanted to be on the business side as a business analyst or as a business development or a marketing person. That was my passion. I always wanted to do that, but I didn't get there day one, right? I was in a freight forwarding company as a management trainee. Then I was in City Financials doing sales and marketing for many months. Then I was with a company called Frost & Sullivan in Chennai doing market research and customer interviews. And at that point in time, I was like, what's going on? I wanted to be on the business side of IT, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm just wasting my life. But I was wrong, right? Then I got into a startup in Bangalore. I did business analysis there. Then Virtusa, probably many of you may know this company. It's based out of Hyderabad, a very good company. Used to work for many years in Virtusa. I was in business analysis and product management there. And then JP Morgan, I did business analysis, program management, and digital product management. But at the end of it, all of this came together, right? In your career too, that's my advice, is have a passion, have an interest, follow it. The dots will connect. Don't worry. Work hard, network. The dots will connect automatically. Don't worry about it. Okay. The next slide is just a very quick thing on some pointers, right? Don't want to be preachy, but some question. I see a lot of new recruits or a lot of people who come into the job market. I wish I had known all of this when I started my career, right? Always just don't focus on what you're told to do, right? You may be hired as a full stack developer, right? For example, in a bank or let's say in a technology multinational, and then you may be just trying to do your job, but just don't do that. Understand the business and strategy. Understand why you're building that website or that mobile app. Understand what is the strategy, right? Why the company is doing that, and you can find that through various sources. You can look at the company's annual report, or you can talk to someone at the company, tell them, hey, I just want to have a coffee with you and just kind of really interested in understanding what's going on, because I'm building this product here, but I really don't know what's driving that. Understand the big picture. And believe me, like if people come to me and say that anyone, like even a fresher comes to me and says, yeah, I want to understand the big picture, believe me, I'll be very impressed with them, right? I'll be like, wow, this person wants to know what's going on at the business level, not just focused on his technology stuff, right? Understand the big picture. Always ask questions. Don't shy away from asking questions. Your questions will be can be stupid, can be bad, but there's nothing like a stupid or a bad question, by the way. They're just questions, questions, and questions. I read this quote somewhere. I forget who said this. This person said, "You're not defined by the answers you know, but you're defined by the questions you ask." Right? Always ask questions. Don't shy away from it. Don't just focus on coding or technology. Understand the vision, strategy, and financials of the company. Very key. I did this mistake in my career. I used to say, "Yeah, I'm a computer science engineer. I have an MBA in marketing. I don't want to focus on finance. I have nothing to do with accounts and finance. Right? That's boring." I used to have that mindset. I was completely wrong. If you have to grow in your career, you have to understand the basics of finance, basics of how companies make money, how businesses make money. You need to know that, right? And you don't need to get into like cost accounting and all crazy things. You don't need to do that, but at least understand the basics of finance and of how companies make money, how working capital is managed. It's very key, right? Always probe the details, right? Even like don't take it from someone senior saying, yeah, we need to build like this mobile app and you build this and you build that and you go from, don't take it. Just ask them questions like, why do you want to build a mobile app? Why don't we build go web first? Why do we want to build an Android app? Why don't we build an iOS app first, right? Always ask questions. Maybe then you will get an answer. Oh, we want to build an iOS app first because we have more iOS users than Android users. Then you're like, oh, that's a good point. Now I need to build for iOS users. Be a part of a company center of excellence. Every company, if you join a large company, right, be a part of a center of excellence, meaning they will have AI, cloud, or any other center of excellence, right? Or if you're an entrepreneur, when you start your own company, for example, you can be a part of a lot of these groups that you have, right? Product management, AI groups, online, or you can go to meetup.com and be a part of those meetup groups. Always be part of some groups in your life. Don't just do your work or don't just do your stuff at home and work and go away. Just be part of the larger community and be engaged, right? And lastly, learn, right? Learning never stops. I spend more time learning now than ever in my life, right? I know that if I don't keep learning, if I don't talk to people, if I don't read books, even for me, this is a learning experience because I want to also learn from you. It's not just me talking. I also want to understand and learn from you and your professor, right? Learn, and learn. Lastly, some good resources that you can look at. Again, this list is not very exhaustive. I can provide you more, but ai.google, definitely go there, explore. Lots of cool stuff. Some books, Digital Transformation Inspired, The Man Who Solved the Market. It's a great book. I recommend that book. It's nothing to do with technology, but this person he was a mathematics PhD. They built an algorithm that beats the market every year, that beats the stock market every year. There's nothing like this ever built anywhere in the world. Podcasts, I've listed some great podcasts, some general podcasts too. The School of Greatness is a general podcast. Listen to it if you get a chance. And some websites for around AI and product. Okay. Yeah, that's all I had. I'm open for questions. I know we have 12 more minutes. Open for questions now.
Yes, Rupesh, any questions?
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
So I have one doubt. So you have been said that so the one who want to be a good person in the company so should know about the knowledge in finance, sir. So can we call them as business analyst, sir, or domain expertise or business analysis? So who are the main part of the company, business architect? So can I know which role is very best, sir?
So I think there's nothing called a best role or this role. I think for just getting knowledge on finance, is that your question, Rupesh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No,
okay.
no, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But including the finance, if we know all the new technology, that is the domain expertise and the business analysis, so it will be more advantage to us, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I can try to answer that. I think I got your question. Like you're trying to understand what's the most what's a good role, right? I think there's nothing like a good role, right? There's no role is a good role. Every role is has equal value. It really depends on what your interest is, right? If you are more technically oriented, I think you should definitely pursue the software engineering architect track and grow from there. But if you're like me, who wants to be on the business side of technology, right? I always wanted to do that. I didn't. I was not very enamored by coding, but I love technology. But you could not like coding, but still you could love technology, right? Because the potential of technology. But so I wanted to be a business analyst, right? Because I wanted to be in the business side of technology. I wanted to understand how technology can solve business problems, and so that is my this thing. So that's one area you can look at. When you start in that track, you can become like a business analyst, and then you can get into product management eventually, right? You can become, if you like design, if you like to understand how clients interact, or how you can make things easy for clients, then user experience or design is a good stream to look at. So it really depends on what your interest is, Rupesh, and then you become an expert in that, and then you can grow. Yeah. Okay, did it answer your question, Rupesh?
Yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Okay, awesome.
So from now, who has questions? They will be raising their hands, sir. So given sir will be unmuting them, sir.
Absolutely. Okay.
Hello everyone. Who has questions? Please raise their hand. So we will be unmuting them. Thank you.
Naushab, any questions?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so I got a couple of questions, if it's all right.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Go on, Ram.
What should we potentially avoid now that we know AI is replacing a lot of human jobs, right? So what are the possible career pathways that we should avoid so we don't get laid off in the near future? So on the other question is, you said you were interested in the marketing segment of business, right? So let's say if you joined as a beginner, how do you grow up the corporate chain of the ladder? So are there any specific skills that we can acquire right now that would help us in the near future, or is that something that we have to figure out along the way? So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ram. I think those are very good questions. I'll answer your first question. So I don't think, so one thing is, yes, AI is going to create a lot of disruption. There's no question. A lot of manual jobs will be replaced, right? I'll just say those jobs will go away, but they will be replaced by new jobs, right? So for example, one example I'll give you, in the US, in the banks banks or financial institutions, you have a lot of back office jobs, right? Where people used to process all the loan documents that come in, or any of the documents that come in, they used to process it manually. They should make sure everything is in good order, and then they should basically say, yeah, it looks in good order, and then we can give the loan. Or those kind of jobs are at risk, right? Because now we can automate all of that, right? We can automate the whole documentation process. We can automate it. We can automate the doc review process, and completely kind of eliminate those jobs. But when those jobs are getting eliminated, at the same time, we are still hiring engineers, software engineers, to build the automation solution. So I think one thing you all have to be aware of is that you are in the right place. You're in the right kind of work stream. You are all engineers, and so you're all going to be building new things. So you guys are in the right space, right? So don't worry about getting replaced, because if you learn new things, if you keep up to date with all the new technologies, if you understand the trends in the market, and if you keep learning, you will never be replaced, right? That's the bottom line. Don't worry about it. Only manual jobs like factory, a lot of AI job replacement is going to happen in the factory floor, right? In car manufacturing, those kind of things where you needed textile mills, where you needed people to do stuff. Now you have a robo that can do it, right? But high skill jobs are not going to go away. They're just going to change, right? now you have a lot of data science kind of roles or AI roles that are available. So just focus on that. The second part of your question was, I had like interest in the business side of IT, right? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if I know. When we passed out, no one tells you like, yeah, because you have an interest in business side of IT, you can become a business analyst or you can become a product manager. Unfortunately, no one will tell you that. You have to you have to figure out, and how you do it is you talk to a lot of people. You talk to people above you a lot, meaning people above you in terms of experience, people more senior. Don't shy away from talking, right, to people and network as much as possible. And secondly, I would say one thing that you have to always know is that be an excellent communicator, right? Communication, I cannot tell you how important communication as a skill is. Communicate. After a point in time, all professionals are equal, meaning there's no big differentiator between software engineer A and software engineer B, right? They're both working hard, they're both doing great job. But what would separate you from others is if you start focusing on communication, both written and verbal and presentation skills, very important. Start working on that from today, right? That will take you far in your career and in your life also, right? Communication is very important. Communication doesn't mean English language. Communication means a lot of other things. Your posture, your confidence, your body language, how you convey messages, right? So it's very important. I think these are two things I would say you should take away. But there's no set path, Ram. So, but if you folks are in the right space, so that's in itself is a big plus for you, because you're all, I'm assuming all of you are computer science engineers studying engineering. So you're already in the right place. Now you have to make the right decisions. Look at the hottest trends and technologies and go with that. Okay, hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, one more thing I will add, Gani, here to Ram, okay? Not for you, it's for Ram. Okay?
Yeah.
If you want to avoid layoffs, you should be your own boss, okay? There is no other alternative.
Yeah.
Is it right, Gani?
Yeah, I think there are definitely a lot of risks with entrepreneurship too. I'll not minimize it, but yeah, you're right. I think entrepreneurship has a lot of potential, Narendra and Professor Narendra. I think that's a good point you make, right? And one of the regrets I also have in my life is like, I should have tried more when I was young, right? Not at this. In this stage, it's difficult with 2 kids and a lot of things. It's very difficult for me to say, oh, I'm going to start a company tomorrow, though I want to at some point in time in my life, right? But I think entrepreneurship is easy when you're young. When you're experienced, it's easy because you know how to do stuff. You know, you have knowledge, you have the experience. But when it's young, you have the risks are, even if you fail, right? It's okay because you're still young. You'll find a job, right? So they have a saying, right? Fail fast, right? If you're doing something, if you're successful, great. But if you fail fast, so you can do the next thing. And entrepreneurship is it's a great topic. We should probably have a. I'm not an expert on that, obviously, but I think as youngsters, you should always look at that. And I think, Professor, you make a good point, because as technologists, right, as technology students, now is a better time to be entrepreneur than any time ever, right?
Hey, one more thing, okay? Steve Jobs is replaced by Reeve Jobs, okay, now. So it always happens. You have to keep on looking for new things. If
Exactly.
you stop, there it is. There is your end.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Can I add just something, sir? So
yeah, sure, please.
I think now we can see that the technological industries are mostly monopolized, right? So there's Amazon, there's Facebook, there's Google. So it's all based around these large multinational companies. So would it be safe to join them as an employee, or to start your own business? So I mean, it kind of contradicts to what Narendra sir just said. So I think it's a safer option to join the corporates, which are, I think they'll be around for a long time from now. So Google will be around here for a long time from now. Netflix will be around here. Microsoft is not going to go away any soon. So would it be safe to join them, or would it be easier to start an entrepreneurship?
I think again, there's no right or wrong answer, unfortunately, here, right? Both answers are right, both answers are wrong, right? But here is what I'll tell you, right? you can still join a Google tomorrow when you pass out of college, figure a job with Google, go for it. Learn a lot, right? Work hard, learn a lot. But at the same time, if you're passionate about something, if you want to become an entrepreneur, Ram, you can always do something on the side, right? I think no one is going to stop you. You can work on your weekends. You can work on the work in the evenings, and you can work on your own small business plan. And then once you are confident that that business has a lot of potential, and let's say you have built a nice product, and then once you have a little bit of confidence, then you can move away from that, move away from your day job and just jump into it fully, entrepreneurship fully. So that way you mitigate risks also, right? Because if your business, if your product or technology or whatever you're working on doesn't kind of pan out well, you still have your job, right? That way you can mitigate your risk a little bit. And that's how we all have to approach life. Unfortunately, there's no right or wrong answers about anything, right? Everything is like, it depends, right? It depends on that, but there are ways you can work through it, right? You can mitigate your risk, right? You can mitigate your risk. Just in this example, you can still work with a large company, learn a lot. Advantage of being with a large company is that you will learn a lot. You will have great experience. You will collaborate with a lot of great co-workers. You'll keep learning, and it also will give you an opportunity to hopefully travel a lot. But at the same time, there's nothing stopping you from working on your own stuff, right? With technology, with cloud, with all the open source tools that are available, you can always build your stuff in the side, right? And if you know coding, what's stopping you, right? You with your couple of friends, you can always build stuff on the side. And if you think that has a good potential, you can take it to someone who can invest in you and go from there. So that would be the approach I would take if I was starting something new, or if I was passing out of college, and if I have a good idea to be an entrepreneur, I would still, and if you want to play it safe, especially in this environment, in this COVID environment, if you want to play it safe, I would definitely say work and then do a side hustle on your own idea. Spend like 8-10 hours every week, work on something, and then once it takes off, we can think of leaving your job. Yeah. Or you can work part-time, right? Nowadays, things are becoming very flexible, right? Remote work, part-time. You can try a lot of those things. Still do remote work, still do part-time, but still work on your stuff. Yeah. But all within the policies of your company, right? So don't do, if your company completely prohibits, Google, I think should be okay, right? Unless, and again, with most of this, unless you launch your business, you're okay, right? Because you're just working on your passion on the side. No, good questions, folks. And I think these are great questions.
Sir, I have another question.
Yeah, please go on.
I have a question like, is it necessary? What are the special skills that we can gain by completing MBA, or is it necessary if we are completely interested on developer side?
Again, I'll just say this, right? Again, as with everything, it's all like it depends. I'll say this though, right? With MBA, right? Never do an MBA right out of college. No, don't do it. Like I made that mistake. Never do an MBA as soon as you pass out of engineering school. Get some work experience, assess, and then you can think if you want to do an MBA, right? Because for MBA, work experience is very important. You need to have worked to really know what's going on, and then apply MBA. MBA, in my view, is more of a it's more of a soft skill. It's not like engineering. Engineering is a hard skill, right? It teaches you to code. It teaches you to design stuff. MBA focuses more on the softer side of business, right? Like how you communicate, how you think of strategy, how you do financial planning, how you think of supply chain, how you run your business, how you be an entrepreneur. So it focuses on soft skills. So again, you have had many great business leaders who have not done their MBA. Steve Jobs never even completed his graduation, right? Bill Gates never even completed Facebook. But those are exceptions, right? So we should not look at exceptions and try to model. MBA is useful. MBA is very useful if you really have a need for it. So for example, let's say you pass out, you like software engineering, you become a software engineer, let's say with Google, right? And then you join Google AI, right? Touchwood, you join Google AI team, and you build like AI products. And then you like it, but you also are like, oh, I want to like also learn how to create a business out of AI products, building AI products. But you don't have the skill, you don't really have the skills to know how to build a business, right? One, you can do the hard way. You can learn from others, talk to entrepreneurs, learn and do the hard way. Or another way is try to do an MBA from a good school, good business school, and learn the softer side, the skills like communication, skills like strategic thinking, vision, marketing, sales, business development, and then come back with both technology and MBA skills and apply it to your business. So
Yes.
there's no right or wrong answer, but one thing I would recommend is don't do MBA right after your college. It's not worth it.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a small doubt again, sir. If the time doesn't matter, I will ask, sir.
Yeah, go on, please.
Sir, actually, if we have been seeing nowadays in the companies, such as a startup, so due to the low budget, they have been taking on the. So if we have been given a project, and so they've been done the low security websites such as HTTP extension, and so if we've been seeing that the HTTP extension websites have the low SSL versions than the HTTPS version, so they have been easily vulnerable to hacks. So what my idea is, so I have been the person, so not an example of anyone, but if a person who has been in domain expertise or business analysis. So if you have been more knowledge on both the, so I'll say that both the finance and the technology side. So what my idea is also to create a virtual platform, so virtual developing platform, such as the front end, back end, and the testing side. So they have been all been connected into a virtual platform with the MFA authentication, sir, multi-factor authentication. So it is being implemented, but only in the higher companies, sir. So we have been seeing that Amazon Web Services, sir, AWS, by using the instance and the Lambda functions, so we have been creating a serverless website, sir. And so by using that serverless website, you have been connecting all the users, so not the users, but the developers, testers, and the front and back or the full stack developing team into that virtual developing platform with the MFA, so that it will be more securable, sir. So I have been shown that the MFA does not work on flight. So by using the Amazon Web Services, so we have been creating a virtual server, sir, the serverless website. So which will be alternatingly creating in random numbers. We will be going to them, and so that they can be safely logging into their coding platforms, sir.
Are you saying that this is an idea that you have that you're working on?
No, sir. This is an idea I have, sir. And so I have also an architecture. I have also drawn architecture.
Got it. I think I understood most of what you said, right? I think it makes sense. Cybersecurity is a massive problem area, even with big companies, right? Companies spend billions of dollars in making sure that their websites are secure, that their clients are secure. Think of banks, right? Big banks, right? Big banks. Information is everything. If someone hacks into their client information, or the client's financial information, that's it. The bank will cease to exist. So I think this was Rupesh, right, who was speaking. So yeah, I don't know if your face is on, so it's very difficult to figure out who's speaking. But yeah, I think Rupesh, it's a great idea. I would just say, yeah, to your point, I think you seem to have all the technical kind of aspects lined up. You probably need to just need to figure out we call it the product market fit. Like, where does the product fit in the market, and how we can kind of market it and kind of get to clients. Maybe I think we should we'll let the professor kind of take the next steps on this, and if I can help in any way to kind of give you some guidance in terms of the business and the market aspect of it, I'm happy to do that.
My business implementations have been done, sir, just like an architectural diagram.
Got it. Okay.
Gautam.
Got it.
Here now,
Gautam.
sir, with the HOD's permission.
Gautam, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Gautam, did you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
My question is, what do you prefer and suggest between business and marketing and development?
Again, Gautam, again, as I said earlier, right? There's no right or wrong answer, right? I think if you like coding, if you like technology, if you like building new stuff, um, definitely the technology track is a good one, right? And then you can obviously grow from technology to and then switch to business later. But if you're someone like me who always like the business side of technology, then you can start with the business analyst. Or a business development kind of a track, or even a product management kind of a track, right? I think even even in India, product management is becoming very, very kind of important, and a lot of companies are hiring. So it really depends on your preference, Gautam, on what. So just like what Rupesh said now, right? So there are two things, right? When you think of any kind of problem, right? You have a problem, how you solve it. You can use you build a technology framework to solve it, but then how you make money out of it, right? That's a business part of it, right? So
Yes.
to figure out what needs to be built and to figure out how to make money, that's the business part. So if you like that, you can definitely go for that. But definitely, if you are more inclined towards coding and if you like architecture and design, stick with technology track. But you can always switch, right? You can always switch. It's very intertwined. I know product managers in that I work with. They came from the technology track, right? Many of them come from the technology track. They were coders all their life, and then one point they said, "Oh, you know what? Now I don't want to code anymore, but I want to like still build cool technology products by working with a team of engineers and designers." It happens both ways, right? So it's really up to what your preference or what your interests are.
Yes, sir. But where can we find bright future? I mean, both.
uh, it's actually, again, it's actually both. But one thing I would say is, be it any track, right? Be it technology or business track. If you are in the technology product space or technology business space, you always need to keep learning and be updated about new technologies. And so even though I don't code, I have to know how things work. I have to know um, um, what different technologies can do, right? If I don't know what cloud can do, then as a product manager, I will never be able to help my team scale up very quickly, right? If I don't know what
Yes.
artificial intelligence can do, I can never build a underwriting platform that's automated, right? Then I get constrained, and then what will happen is, as a person, I'll become as a professional, I'll become obsolete, and I'll be out of job or I'll be out of business. So both as a product and as a be it product or be it a technology person, you always have to keep learning. There's no substitute to learning, unfortunately. No substitute to learning, talking to people, networking, um, doing stuff other than your work. All of this is very important in your life. That's how you grow. That's how you keep growing.
Thank you.
Sure, Gautam.
Gani, can we conclude, or you want to have some more questions?
I'm good, but I can go on for one or two more. Yeah, I know it's very late for you guys, so you guys.
No. Is it okay for you to have few more questions?
Yes, one or two questions. Yeah, let's go.
Anybody there?
It's Narendra. It's morning for Professor Narendra. It's morning for me, so I'm very energetic
Not
now.
an
So
issue.
I
You can
go
call
on.
me always as Narendra. Okay, you are my classmate. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can keep going. You
Can
can
I
say.
show that, sir?
Sorry. Yeah. Bhuvita, do you have a question? I see one hand raised.
Sir, what really the companies are looking for from our freshers?
Yeah. Okay. I think definitely. I think companies definitely look for technical skills, right? Again, they look for technical skills, but not to the extent that they want you to be an expert, right? They are just looking to see if you have the right kind of aptitude, as they call it, right? Aptitude and technical skills, but you also have the right attitude, right? The right attitude is very important. They want to see if the candidate is someone who can learn, who who can be a team player, very important, right? We don't want people who are superstars, right? Probably in our movies, we want superstars, but not in companies. We don't want superstars, but we want people who are great team players, who are great collaborators, who collaborate with others to get things done, who are very good communicators, right? You have to have very good communication skills. And communication is something that you can always practice, right? You can always practice alone at home. You can see how some of the great communicators talk, right? Like Steve Jobs, like some of the world leaders, how they talk, right? So I would say aptitude, attitude, and communication is very important. You have to be a team player. You have to be able to collaborate, and you have to be good at communication, both written and verbal. And at the same time, you have to have technical skills a little bit. It's not a make or break, right? If I was hiring someone, let's say I have a startup tomorrow and I'm trying to hire someone for, let's say, a data scientist role. If that person is not like a data science expert, that's fine. I don't care. What I would look for is, does that person have just general context of data science and some technical skills? Can I train that person? Number one. Number two, will that person will be a good team player? Because I don't want someone who is like very closed and comes to my team and then it becomes a problem then, right? It spoils the culture of the team. Is a person a good team player and a good cultural fit? And will that person collaborate on projects? And fourthly, communication skills, right? And again, communication skill does not just mean English, talking in English, right? It also means how confident you are, right? And also communication skills is something that for freshers, companies will still be able to overlook a little bit because they know that you're freshers and you don't have a lot of experience. But as you try to grow in your career, communication skill becomes very, very important.
Thank you.
Hopefully, okay, Bhavita. Thank you for asking the question. Any other questions, folks?
Second, show that diagram, sir, with your permission.
Do you want to send it to me later, or you want to? Let's see if we have more questions, Rupesh.
Okay.
And maybe you can send it to me later, and maybe we can. The professor can plan on how we kind of take that forward. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, folks. Any other questions? I saw a couple of hands up. Ram, did you have a question?
Hello. Yes, sir. One more question.
Yeah, go on, Ram.
So, what differences did you find in the working environments of the companies here in India and the companies that are in USA and the company that are currently you're working for? And what would you personally prefer? What is more feasible, and which companies and which countries' companies provides you more opportunities to grow? Is there a difference?
It's a very good question, Ram. Very, very good question. I work both in India and the US now. I think India probably for like 6-7 years and the US for 13 years now. Honestly, I think I don't know how the culture in India now is, right? Because I've not worked there for some time now. But I had an opportunity to work for JP Morgan in Mumbai for 1 year, like in 2014. So I think I have some experience from recent times. I think the biggest, so let me start with like the comparison, right? The biggest difference is in India also, it's becoming very informal nowadays. But you still have a little bit of formal kind of structure, formal kind of hierarchy, and all of that a little bit. I wouldn't say it is as it was 15, 20 years ago. You still have that in technology companies. In the US, it's a little bit more open, right? You can go to anyone. You can reach out to. I could reach out to the CEO of my group and try to talk to that person, right? I could reach out to senior managers very easily and talk to them, senior leaders very easily and talk to them. In India, I think people are open. Honestly, believe me, many senior leaders are open. But I think in India, culturally, we still have that inhibition, right? Oh, this person is very elder, or he's very senior, or he or she is very senior. What will they think if I ask them for a coffee or if I ask them a question? So that culturally, you will see it may not be very open here. It's very open in the US. But in terms of just getting, I'll also touch on another point about communication, right? US people prefer direct communication. They don't want you to beat around the bush and be nice and all that. Just be direct, right? Just convey it directly. Get to the point, because senior managers or leaders don't have time, right? They have very little time, so they don't want to hear the background, the context. In India, I still feel that background context always helps. You don't want to, if you get direct to the point, sometimes it can be very rude. If I got to the presentation directly and start talking about AI, cloud, and everything without giving introduction, without telling me about myself, I think all of us will find it a little bit rude, right? Like, what's going on here? Like, so that's another thing. But in terms of one thing I'll say is, right, the world is changing, Ram. In terms of open work cultures and remote work, I think all the companies, it's just becoming like a one big virtual kind of global office now, right? Wherein you could be working for Facebook from India, but you could still be part of a larger Facebook team, global team, and you will not feel the location is a constraint, right? Same with JP Morgan, right? You could be, there are people working from Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Mumbai, but they're still part of the JP Morgan global teams, and they're all equal, right? No one is superior, no one is inferior. They're all equal partners, information share. So with COVID and with the remote work, everything, I think we'll see a lot of rationalization of work cultures across the globe. It'll not matter if you work for Facebook in Hyderabad or you work for Facebook in Silicon Valley. That distinction will go away. But still, there are definitely cultural nuances that are out there. If you ask me what's the best, I don't think there is any right answer, right or wrong answer. I think professional companies across the world try to have a very similar culture across all of their global offices. So you work in Google in the US, in Silicon Valley, or you work in Google in Chennai or Bangalore, I don't think you'll see a lot of difference. It's going to be the same culture. You'll have a little bit of local differences, but it's more or less going to be similar. Okay, but I would say this, Ram. I'll take this opportunity to just say one thing. Try to, if you get an opportunity to kind of work for a big company and a startup, right? And if you can take the risk, I know some of us can take the risk, some of us cannot because of a lot of other family circumstances. If you can take the risk, try to work in a startup at some point in time in your life. Very important. You will, in startup, the rate at which you learn is definitely much higher than the rate at which you learn in a big company. Sometimes in big companies, you can feel it a little bit bureaucratic and you can be very frustrated. In startups, 10 people startup, let's say we have a startup in Hyderabad, 10 people working out of there, you will have the founder and the CEO sitting there right next to you, you and coding with you, right? If that founder is technical. So always in your life, try to work for a startup. It's very important. Don't work for just pick. If you get an opportunity, try to work for a startup. Again, depending on, I don't want you to take the risk saying Ganapathi said that let's work for a startup. If you have other risks and like you may have family constraints or you may have other constraints, but if you get an opportunity in life, try to do that. Okay. Any other? Ram, did you have any other question? Did I answer your question?
That's
okay,
it.
cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yep.
I hope this session was very much interactive, Ganesh. Very much.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
good. Really good. And I want some such series, okay? Like what you actually do, that needs to be here, okay? So that my students really get benefit. Maybe you can take some time, clearing from your side, and I want some more session from you. Really, this is what I can tell you right now. And one more thing that I could understand and tell to my students, okay? Connecting the dots.
Yeah.
This is what our students need to learn, okay?
Yeah.
If they learn, they'll be definitely successful. So this is what I could understand from the entire conversation or session today. Hope I am right.
Yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think, Professor,
So
you
that was
hit the
what I
nail.
could able to pick up. Okay, even now I was looking at that and I could understand. Oh, he has made longer strides and
Yeah,
still able
no,
to connect.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think,
Yeah,
Professor,
yeah,
you hit the nail on his head, right? I think I enjoyed it more as much as you folks did. It was very, I loved it that it was interactive.
yeah.
I learned a lot today.
Mm,
Absolutely, I think Rupesh, that was a great. I think the problem area you hit was very great. Cybersecurity, like it's a massive problem area. I cannot tell you how big a problem area it is in big companies and small companies, right?
mm,
Cybersecurity just threatens our whole existence, right? Um, so it's a big problem area. Go for it. We can maybe talk about it. The professor can coordinate that a little bit more. I learned a lot, and students, please feel free to reach out to me. Like if I'm not able to respond to you immediately, I'll respond to you eventually. But reach out to me. One thing I would say, in addition to what Professor said, is connect the dots. And like Steve Jobs said, right? Be hungry, learn always, and don't be shy from asking questions. I think I will tell you this, right? And I know Ram, you asked this question, right? What's different culturally? Very important. Don't be shy from asking questions. Don't worry. You may sound a little bit weird a couple of times, but that's fine. Believe me, if I have people in my team or in other teams asking questions, even if they are very simple questions, basic questions, it's fine. I will be more impressed with that person. I'll be like, yes, that person, Ram, did not know something and he asked me a question about what that is. That's a great sign of someone who is ready to learn. Don't worry. But sometimes you may also have to do some prep work, right? Not in this forum. This forum is fine. You can ask me any questions, honestly. But in like very senior forums, if you have the CEO of a company, you want to do some. I do this a lot. When we have town halls, I try to take some time to figure out what the topic of the town hall is, and then try to see if I have any question, very important question for the CEO or for the senior leader, right? And go with that. So prepare. So ask questions, stay hungry, learn, read a lot of books. Read a lot of books, folks. I think there's nothing like books. And I think you'll all have a great career. Like I think you're in very good hands. I know your professor very well. He's very committed, very passionate. You're all in very good hands. I wish you all the best, and definitely reach out to me if you have any questions or any kind of
yeah. In this regard, I want
feedback.
to tell you one thing also. Okay. So we have an
Mhm.
entrepreneurship club. So it is basically a e-entrepreneurship initiative in the department. Okay. So
Mhm.
those people, they have nearly some 30 to 40 ideas in their minds. These young minds, they have some
Mhm.
30 to 40 ideas, and we are looking to take them forward. So
Mhm.
I want you to be one of the mentors for one of those interesting problems that you like. Maybe if you are
Yeah,
really looking forward, because it will help
absolutely.
them. It will help them.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I can
because
pick
they
pick
have
one or
got some
two.
good ideas. Really, we have filtered from some 100 and odd ideas to 40
Yep.
odd ideas now. So we look
Yep.
forward, but we had a break, COVID break, so it needs to continue again. So that is what
Yep.
we're looking forward.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
yeah,
One or two ideas I can definitely kind of support or kind of try to mentor and guide. Um,
yeah,
I think, I think, I think it's very important. One of the things that I want to make it like one of my, I know Narendra, maybe you and I kind of spoke about this a little bit, right? Or chatted in WhatsApp. We have so many, India is a powerhouse of engineering talent. Like, don't let anyone else say anything else to you. We have to be proud of this. We are an engineering superpower in the world. No country produces the number of engineers we produce, technology engineers, right? And the proof is there, right? You have the CEOs of Google, Microsoft, Mastercard. So many companies are Indians, right? Um, so one thing that really eats me, and I want to change this in my lifetime somehow, in my own small way, is why don't we have our own Facebook and our own Google and our own WhatsApp? So we go back to the slide here, right? How many did we have? Like we had, I'll just I just wanted to kind of, we have like 294 million users engaged in social media. Why don't we have our own WhatsApp? How difficult is it to create like a WhatsApp that is very attuned to Indian cultural sensibilities? It's not that difficult from an engineering standpoint. But what's difficult is the product market fit, understanding the market, understanding the customer mindset, understanding the or building the customer experience, right? I think we want to change that, and I think hopefully, Professor, the entrepreneurial club actually comes up with some good ideas where we can really literally change the world, right? By something like that. So I'm excited. Let's do it.
So students, can we now conclude and give some free time for him on his weekend? So
Any
happy
other,
weekend, Gani. Happy weekend to you.
Thank you, folks.
Have a good time with
Yeah,
your
and
family.
yeah, and if you have any feedback, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay, I'll
Hope I
send
need
my.
not have to give any feedback on this session. You got it right away.
No, good and bad. Yeah, no, I think we all can improve. So,
Yeah.
no, I loved it, folks. I think
Yeah.
I think this is my first time interacting with students after a long time. I feel very refreshed. Next time, though, I'd like to see your have all of your videos on so we can see each other. But no, I really liked it. Thank you for
Yeah. Next time we'll
staying.
make all videos on and then interact.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I think it was great. I think thanks
Yeah.
for staying late on a Saturday evening. Really appreciate it, folks.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Gani. Thank you, Rupesh. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gautam, then
Thank
Ram
you, everyone.
and Bhavya for all your questions and all others for joining this session. Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Meet you again.
Thank you, folks. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. Bye, Gani. I will meet you again. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.